I went to college to study biology on a pre-dental, pre-med track, and my goal is to become an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. So that's what I studied throughout college. I finished that degree. I eventually received my acceptances to dental school. But to step back, COVID hit spring of 2020. All of us were sat home, and my dad just had CNBC in the background. And my curious mind just instantly got hooked on the markets. I think my first purchase was like a share of Boeing and then a share of Tesla, but I had no rules at the time.
And this was in 2020?
Yeah, 2020, spring, like April, May of 2020. That was during my spring semester of freshman year. So we're finishing up freshman year, and I got into the markets. First share, like I said, Boeing and then some Tesla. But I didn't have any rules, no buy rules, no sell rules. It was just buy random stocks. So continue on, just like early phases of my trading. I didn't really know anything that I know now, like technical analysis, risk management, position sizing. My first edge was in SPACs, special purpose acquisition companies. And at the time,
Which were huge at that point.
we had this crash. Everyone thought the world was going to end, and the Fed and the government just printed trillions of dollars and injected in the economy. So, money needs to find a home somewhere. And oftentimes when they print that much money, it finds homes in unwise situations.
More speculative areas.
Potential frauds. We didn't know that at the time, but it seemed like this great opportunity. All these SPAC sponsors and founders were saying it's like venture capital for retail. That's how they sold it.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I think that's when TikTok was first starting up too. I'm off TikTok now, but there was this TikTok promoting VTIQ, which eventually merged into Nikola. So that was like the first big trade. Intuitively understood that SPACs wouldn't go below their net asset value, which is $10, until after the de-SPACing phase. And so my strategy essentially was SPACs went through this process of like looking for a company to merge with. There's a definitive agreement, eventually like the shareholder vote, like the proxy vote to merge the company. And I noticed the pattern where there's a lot of speculation and people doing like deep due diligence on X, and that's how I first got on X too. And you can accumulate these SPACs around $10 a share, and eventually get these pops when they announce, a stock potentially merging with the SPAC in a hot theme. Like EVs were a hot theme at the time. Nikola was like, this like next Tesla. That was like the frame of Nikola. So that was the first big trade. And I'll just fast forward a little bit. There's a bunch like Hyliion. I forgot that was from SHLL. Chamath had his whole SPACs from like IPOA, and he wanted to go through all the way to Z. So he knew something was quite frothy. And a big one was CCIV into Lucid Motors, which is actually like still around, but I don't think it's doing well. I haven't looked at the stock in a while. And that edge all ended. I mean, these temporary edges due to like macro and frothy conditions usually always come to an end because it's not rooted on timeless principles, which we'll definitely get into in your book and all the other books I've read. So that ended February of 2021. And it was like a shock because it ended and the edge was gone. And at the time, I did really well. Like, pretty much haven't ever seen red negative in the career, but like I would still consider it a blowout. Like it was probably 50% drawdown.
From your highs at that point, from 2020 through 2021, and then a pretty significant pullback.
Pretty significant pullback. And afterwards, I didn't really know how to trade the markets. It was decent timing because I had to study for the dental admissions test into summer of 2021. So it was like a forced hiatus, which was probably good. But I was already I was super happy with like the results because